So, as you know, the theme for the conference this year is integrating culture and values in health education, health professions education. So, over the last 2 days, we've heard from Ron, for example, on the importance of cultural competence and how we can actually teach it. But against that background of teaching skills in cultural competence is the context in which these skills are practiced. So the context has to be culturally diverse. Yeah? So I'm sure all of you will agree that cultural diversity is to be embraced and celebrated. And to that extent, the United Nations, in its Declaration for Cultural Diversity, advocates global commitment to cultural diversity, tolerance, and pluralism as non-negotiable principles. So it is universally almost accepted that we need to celebrate cultural diversity. But the question is, can we actually make that happen, especially in the universities? So, which brings us to the debate this afternoon. Can universities be truly diverse? So, arguing for the motion will be 3 members of faculty from IMU, and arguing against the motion were 3 medical students from IMU. Okay, so the format of the debate will be Asian parliamentary. So the Prime Minister will give a speech for 5 minutes, followed by the opposition Prime Minister. And then by the Deputy Prime Minister, and finally the whip. Okay? To make this debate technologically enhanced, we're going to ask you to take part in a poll on the motion. So can I ask IT to put the poll up? So we're going to use poll everywhere for this activity. So if you have your mobile phone, your iPad, your laptop, I'm sure you all have some sort of mobile device. If you take your mobile device out now and actually log in to pollev.com/IMU-poll, then you can actually vote on whether you agree with the motion or not, or then you're not sure. So I'm asking you to take out your mobile devices and participate in this poll. Oh, wonderful. So, well, this is amazing. Oh, okay. Okay, so does it say how many people have voted? Percentage, just give me a percentage, not a number. Okay, so quite a lot of people think that universities can be culturally diverse. Although, just before lunch, there was a session in which they pointed out that because of political, religious, or legal reasons even, that some places cannot be diverse. So, can I just point out that when you're polling, please just poll on the question, can universities be truly diverse? Ignore socially and culturally, because I think the speakers are going to touch on. There are going to be no boundaries in this debate. Okay? So, so 60% for the motion. So after the first 2 speakers, we'll set up the poll again, and then see whether you're persuaded by the speakers or not. So now can I ask the Prime Minister, please, to speak on the
A very good afternoon to all, my fellow colleagues, my friends from all over the world, and my fellow debaters. Allow me to put the definition right so that all of us are on the same page. Can universities be truly diverse? Diverse, as defined by the dictionary, as different from each other. Different in a way that different in various aspects, as has been mentioned by Mr. Chairman, different in ideas, abilities, culture, races, etc. So today, we live in a diverse, globalized world, and hundreds of colleges and universities have recognized the educational value of diversities and view students and faculties diversity as an essential resource for optimizing teaching and learning. Just let us look around this room. How diverse are we? Look at the opposition team. Yes, you are indeed very diverse. And look at my team as well, the government. We are very diverse. With this in mind, our team would like to present to you an assortment of facts to convince all of you that universities can truly be diverse. Okay, let me go on a bigger umbrella than a smaller umbrella. We start with the courses and programs available in the university first. In the universities, we have a lot of different courses to cater for different needs and different learning interests of the students. In IMU, a small university, but we have 20-odd programs. In the bigger universities, we can have up to 70, 80 different programs. Isn't it diversity? It is. So universities can truly be diverse. I'll take a point later. Okay, now to support that universities can truly be diverse, we have policies and supports in the universities to ensure that this happens. Anti-discrimination policies are available in most universities for students from different backgrounds, races, disabilities, and this applies to employment of staff as well. We have faculties that come from all over the world. And universities also support formation of various clubs and societies as well to enhance development of soft skills among students to prepare them for the real world. And so much emphasis has been placed to ensure that all these students are exposed to a variety of activities. Now we go to a smaller umbrella, diversity in teaching and learning methods. Universities are constantly finding innovative and wide-ranging approaches to provide high-quality teaching and learning. And in IMU and a lot of other universities, it is established that people have various learning styles, which is diverse.
If you accept that each university has a different style of teaching its students, then you also have to accept that it produces different students in each university. Hence, each university produces a single type of students. Doesn't that contradict that diversity, you know?
No, I totally agree. The outcome, the learning outcome for the students are similar, but the students develop in a various manner. Okay, it is established that people have various learning styles. Visual, logical, auditory. So most universities have a large variety and diverse teaching and learning method to cater to the diverse learning style of students. I'll take it later. You have gone through traditional plenaries, you have gone through PBL, you have gone through flipped classrooms, and also technology-enhanced learning. Universities also strive to provide a variety of learning sites as well. We have service learning, community posting, student mobility program, and so on and so forth. And this morning, we have heard a very interesting presentation from New Zealand, where the Aborigines and the indigenous students and medical doctors established a truly extensive, diverse community of practice to improve the health of the Aboriginal people. Okay. Besides diversity in teaching and learning methods, we also have diverse assessment tools. My dear fellow opponents, you I'm sure, have gone through a diverse assessment tool to ensure that you have achieved cognitive skills, psychomotor skills, and also you have attributes that is appropriate as a healthcare worker. And if we discuss from another angle, intercultural learning, it has been recognized that, thank you. So we have a variety of students that will actually enhance each other's learning, and we have celebrations and events that would enable us to understand each other's culture and social. Thank you.
So can I ask the Prime Minister from the opposition? Now, is it good? Yes, please. You can start now.
Yeah. Sorry. First and foremost, even before I want to begin my debate, I want to thank Prof. Vishna, Club Advisor, for giving me this opportunity to present in IMEC. Now let's get to the debate here. I want each and every one of you, okay, to look around in this room. Yes, you do see people who are of different color. But that's the problem, right? That's the problem. That when you start defining that as diversity, that's when you do not know the true meaning of diversity. Members of the floor, Mr. Speaker, let me first tell you what am I going to do for you in today's debate. I'm going to tell you why side opposition came up and basically said laws are there in place for you. She said that the laws are there to help in discrimination. I'll tell you why that won't happen, because you're not changing actually the perception of people. I'll tell you what exactly we mean by diversity, a proper definition of diversity. I'll tell you why it can't necessarily be achieved. I'll tell you an overlook. I'll tell you broad-based, right, directly, why diversity cannot work in university, it cannot exist. And I'll tell you lastly how universities work, how the society in universities work, and why diversity cannot be achieved. But first, let's look to a rebuttal. An important point which you brought up was that universities recognize that diversity should exist, however, laws and policies are in place, right? The issue with that is, laws and policies don't correct the problem. They still don't change the mindset of individuals, the majority of individuals which still choose to have a negative perception of individuals. More needs to be done on that. But I'll further explain my points. Let's talk about status quo. Universities have many different ethnicities, but there is no diversity, and I'll explain to you why. What is then diversity? Members of the floor, what we are trying to say is, diversity is the ability to fully embrace my differences and act upon it and not hide it for any reason. In other words, it means that we should be able to fully embrace other people's differences and celebrate rather than ignore others, to practice their beliefs openly without having a negative perception of them. Now, let's just look at it on the face of it. Why can't diversity exist in a Muslim country, per se? If I'm a homophobe, laws don't allow me to practice what I truly am. That's the first thing, right? For example, a second thing is cultural differences on the face of it. If I'm a Hindu and I am religiously inclined to favor a cow, am I actually going to believe truly within me that when a Muslim slaughters a cow, that that's a good thing? Mr. Speaker, inherently I have to tolerate it because it's for the law, but essentially I can't. It's not diversity. In a sense, we are saying that you have to be fully able to embrace it for you to be diverse. Inherently, the perception doesn't change. But, alright, and you have to understand why this perception will never change, because your beliefs are deeply engraved in you, right? So my religious beliefs, which form my culture, are deeply engraved in me from day one, right? Furthermore, there are laws against it, like I mentioned to you, with regards to homophobia, etc., with regards to homosexuality. But now let's talk about how universities work. Okay, Members of the floor, let's understand how university work and how cultures are in universities. Yes, before I move on, please.
Yes, we are actually talking in the university. We are not talking overall in a country.
Yeah.
So in a university, you are free to practice your religious.
Fair enough.
And so on and so forth. And furthermore, we actually celebrate different events.
Fair enough. So I guess what they're trying to say, laws for a country don't apply in universities. Well, that's wrong. Laws in a university have to follow the laws of a country. So the point still stands. However, let's just understand why societies in universities are different. There always exists a dominant culture in universities. Let me take an example for America, where you have a dominant white population, right? What happens is, there you have a majority who practice Western culture, and then you have Asians who practice Asian culture. The next question is, what is Western culture and why does it conflict with Asian culture? So you have alcoholism, you have premarital sex, you have all of these things which are contraindicating to the Asian culture. What inherently happens is many things, right? But what actually happens is, as an Asian, now you have to choose. It's either you opt into the culture or you're segregated, you're ignored and become a discriminated part of society. So you either become one person who opts into the culture and loses your identity, hence there's no diversity, or you join the minority of people who choose to still stick to their beliefs and end up being discriminated with less diversity as well. The last thing that can also happen is cultural appropriation, right? When these Westerners start telling that our cultures is that part of them and inherently lie that they understand it. A very good example is the American version of yoga. Yeah, they really took yoga from us, right? They said like yoga is an American form of art when it isn't. So we feel like that is one of the negatives that can happen, hence diversity doesn't necessarily happen because Westerners take our cultures and form it into theirs. But lastly, let's look at how a university shapes an individual. When an individual enters a university, he eventually matures and learns to develop. He learns to question himself. Once he begins to question himself, he eventually thinks whether or not he should opt out of his culture. And at a point when he does that, that's when he loses his culture, that's when he becomes a secular place, and that's where there's no diversity. So essentially, what we're saying is that it's not about people of different color. You have to understand diversity is of many, right? And we believe because of all of those reasons, diversity cannot be achieved. Thank you.
So we've heard the speeches
from the Prime Minister and the opposition Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister of the government has made an argument for diverse curriculum and assessment. And the opposition Prime Minister is saying that we cannot be truly diverse because we're tolerant based on religious and sexual orientation reasons. So now that both speakers have spoken, can I invite you to poll again to see where you stand now? So at the beginning of the debate, those who polled for the motion was 60%. Okay, so now so I think we can safely say that the Prime Minister for the opposition has put forward very strong arguments. We don't really want the faculty speakers to suffer. If anybody wants to help the faculty speakers, you may have 30 seconds to make your point or ask a question. Do it quick before we move on. Okay, so nobody wants to help you, sorry. So can I now invite the Deputy Prime Minister for the government, please, to make a speech.
A very good afternoon to all. Before I put my points forward in support of the topic today, I'd like to rebut certain claims that has been made by the opposition. Namely, I think they took it out of the university context itself. We were talking about that cultures are strongly engraved and we can't actually be truly free. Like for example, homophobes in a Muslim country. Well, it's a bit short-sighted. We are talking in terms of a Muslim country, but that's not the case in every part of the world, is it? And the other part of things is we are talking about diversity within a university context, and whatever diverse backgrounds you have, whatever beliefs you have, whatever cultural differences you have, this is the place where we actually embrace it. Now allow me to actually put forward my points in support of the topic today. I am a psychologist, so I am going to be looking at cultural diversity in a slightly different perspective. Firstly, let me ask you, whether is the concept of intelligence consistent of a single ability, or does it consist of multiple different abilities? Now, we all can acknowledge that people like J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, Albert Einstein, Beethoven, Picasso have all been acknowledged to be geniuses in their respective fields. But did they display intelligence in a singular way, or were they intelligent in numerous different ways? So a psychologist, a professor of psychology from Harvard proposed, his name is Howard Gardner, he proposed that humans can have 8 different forms of intelligence, namely linguistic, logical, mathematical, musical, spatial, body kinesthetic, intrapersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic. How is this relevant to the university context? Well, in this day and age, regardless of the form of intelligence you have the privilege to pursue a professional qualification that matches your intellectual ability. Now let's bring it back to the IMU context, where courses may be deemed generic because of the emphasis on healthcare. Does it actually apply to us? Well, it does. By just walking around the campus, you can actually see portrayal of various different intellectual abilities of a student. If you just walk just before the place where we had lunch, you can actually reject it for the moment. You can actually see artworks that have been completed to perfection by our students who are clearly demonstrating spatial intelligence. Why go so far? This panel of speakers are actually displaying another form of intelligence, which is linguistic intelligence. So when the very concept of intelligence is diversified, universities that nurture this form of intelligence are truly diversified. So for my second point, personality. Again, according to psychology, personalities can be diverse. John Holland, an emeritus professor from Johns Hopkins University, proposed that there are 6 different forms of personality, namely realistic, artistic, entrepreneurial, social, investigative, and conventional. Again, all these different forms of personalities have been used to guide students to make appropriate choices in their career. Regardless, even within the IMU context, you can see students displaying all these different forms of personality traits. For example, a medical school student could actually be displaying investigative traits if he's actually interested in research. He could also be displaying social personality traits if he's interested in community-related work, or he could also be displaying entrepreneurial traits if he's interested in setting up a business and becoming really rich. So, reflecting back on our university life, I'm sure you would agree, these personality differences that existed within our peers and our mentors is what contributed to the diverse nature of education we acquired, and which truly made it an enriching experience that crafted our personal, educational, and professional lives. Thank you.
Toffler fondly said in his book Power Shift that there's an elite class that will determine what is the norm and what is acceptable for a lower class that has been passed on from past to future and will be passed on to the future. And essentially, that's what my entire case is going to be based on. But let's look at the flaws coming out from side government in the first perspective. Number 1, they came up with a beautiful advertisement of IMU and said how great it is, and just because there are multiple courses, we have diversity. And and they said that just because our students are multi-talented, etc., that's the entire case coming from government. But they fail to realize just because you have a lot of courses, just because you have a lot of clubs, etc., the majority's perception is what's going to contribute towards your success in this club or your popularity. So ultimately, if a certain member of a certain race is more popular, his friends are going to vote him into the club compared to someone else. So opportunities are not the same, even though you give on paper or on black and white that there are multiple clubs and there are multiple sources. Finally, the second speaker spoke about intelligence and the forms of intelligence, but never once analyzed how it contributes towards diversity, except directly pointing that is diversity. Now the question becomes, what is diversity? Not just to have different people of different races sitting in one area, but it's ultimately to be accepted, to not be tolerated, to be fully embraced and given equal opportunities. And that's what we're standing for inside opposition today. Now, I've got very little time and a lot to say, but let's try. So, the underlying philosophy behind our debate is when a majority rules, which has been echoed in the halls of democracy, that's a big issue. When a big group of people perpetuate what is right and what is wrong for a group of individuals who have, let's say, who's traditionally disenfranchised. So for example, if I'm an Indian person, and if someone says that, I can't see you in the dark, that's really funny, that is a microaggression that hurts me. However, it is considered normal across the other students of IMU or any other members of society, because that is how things have been all this while. They don't realize it hurts another because the majority says it's okay. The majority says it's okay to make fun of these people, put out microaggressions, but at the same time, the majority doesn't get to decide what hurts and what does not hurt. Ultimately, a racial slur is like a knife. If you're holding the handle of it, you don't deserve to tell how sharp the knife is. That is the sole and sovereign right of the person at the tip. Alright? Next, we move on to cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation basically means you take something else from a lower disenfranchised culture that has been traditionally oppressed and you claim it to be your own. We see that many people reject this idea of cultural appropriation, especially if you come from a predominantly white culture. They feel guilty, they feel accused. How can you say this? I'm just trying to honor your culture. But this denial of cultural appropriation is a big problem of why people won't be able to diverse. This false predicament or dichotomy that you actually feel you're accepting someone, but you're further just trivializing the trauma of historical oppression that they have gone through, and that's why we feel that diversity will never be achieved, because you have a false perception that you are accepting someone and you're putting them in, but ultimately you don't realize that you're hurting them. Why does this happen? Because people subscribe to stereotype. We can't say that we're all completely, we don't completely subscribe to stereotype. We say that many people still do that, and we act upon it, and that's the problem. Finally, yes.
Point of interest. Thank you very much. We agree fundamentally with what you're saying, absolutely. What we are talking about, you've addressed race, religion biases as well. These are side effects of diversity. These are side effects of diversity. The topic is a university diverse?
No, that's
the question is a university diverse?
Yeah, but you define diversity as me and another Chinese person or Malay person sitting in a row, but that's not diversity.
No, we did
diversity is ultimately being accepted and being able to access equal opportunity.
We define diversity as an opportunity to exchange ideas.
Can I just
as well.
remind the government, a point of information is just that, for clarification.
Thank
Do
you.
you want to clarify anything?
My apologies, sir.
So finally, let's move on to the clash of beliefs. The idea of the clash of beliefs. We feel that if you are indoctrinated with a certain ideology, such as to hate people who, not say hate, to not accept people who are homosexuals, to not accept people of a different path of life, because you feel that they are sinning in your eyes. You will never truly be able to accept them unless you have open discussion. But what does universities do when it comes to this area? Universities have an area of safe spaces. We are not allowed to discuss about things like this, where you're held back from speaking about things like this because you're afraid to hurt someone. Common example, in Australia recently, there was this bake sale where you pay how much you would earn in real life for $1. So white males were forced to pay $1 for a cupcake, while a black woman was forced to pay 60 cents. But because it's not a safe space then, people got angry, people showed rage, and the reason why we need safe spaces and act upon it is because we need to have an area where there is no rage and to allow university life to continue. But however, this also deters diversity, because you will always be a prisoner of your own false illusions and your constructs that have been built upon by society on top of you. So you will always hold on to that. You will never be able to discuss that. Even though you say that university is an area where you can exchange views, but you won't be able to do that because there's a safe space, because you might hurt someone. But at the same time, these microaggressions that you put out while you don't know hurt someone else will definitely cause someone's right to be infringed. Ideally, we want a country or a university where people are completely diverse and accepting of each other. But unless we address these social issues, unless we recognize the fact that these issues are there and diversity is not clear as of now, it will just be another form of selective ignorance where we close our eyes to things that we're desensitized about and believe that things will change, but in reality, who are the ones that are suffering? The students who either do not get a chance to join these people and opt out because they're socially awkward, or the people who give up their identity to join these people, and that's the biggest problem. So opposition clearly takes the debate. Here.
So, such passion, are we prisoners of our illusion? Or can we embrace all personality types? Can I ask you to cast your vote, please? I think we have a very fickle audience here. Say something about the personality. Very fickle audience. Say something about your personality type. We can embrace that one. Okay, so let's move on to the final speaker, which is a whip from the government, Omar Professor.
Thank you. I was really thinking a lot about how I would open. And when I'm looking at these percentages, I realized I didn't have enough one-ringgit notes to bribe everyone with the comment lecture or vote yes. But what I will do is start by suggesting that before you decide to vote that yes, universities are diverse, I'd like us to reflect on Dr. Xiao's definition. And I'd even like to acknowledge the wonderful opposition in the diversity of thought that they have in a university setting. It's fantastic. Their definition of diversity is different than ours. In a university setting, can we imagine that their definition is different than ours? Your definition may very well be different than mine. And we are allowed to celebrate this today at IMEC at a university setting. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let me speak about my diversity at York University, a university. The first day, we were called Frosh. We were called Frosh because we didn't want to be noted as freshmen or freshwomen, so they just said Frosh. And when we went into the atrium of our university, there was clubs of every imaginable culture, every imaginable sports I hadn't even heard of were there. Cultures I hadn't even heard of were there. And that was all nurtured in a university settings. Can universities be diverse? That day I discovered that they could be. When I came to IMU, many years later, I pondered this same question, as many intellectuals have. Can universities be diverse? And I came and I looked at the syllabus of wonderful courses that lecturers can be exposed to, where we can exchange ideas, different ideas, diverse ideas. And there's fundamentals of teaching. There's classes the other day on coaching patients. Two completely different extremes, celebrated in a diverse university, in a diverse setting. You guys didn't come here to hear my personal experience, however. You haven't come here to, if you're like my students. If you're like my students, you came here to see if what I'm saying can be verified by Google or YouTube. Right? And if you are, I will say to you that what I did was I knew that Prof. Vishnu would be here. And so I took it beyond Google and went to Google Scholar. I took it one level up. Right? And on Google Scholar, I came across diverse articles dissecting whether universities are diverse. And there was a great article by Marine who discussed similar to what Dr. Jenna said, that universities are diverse because the educational tools vary among universities, including gamification, like we have here, PBLs, like we have here, SDLs, like we have here, different classroom colors, different classroom arrangements. Some classrooms have these sorts of seats, which you can fall asleep in quite easily, like many of you are. And other classes have table and chairs in a university as a diverse setting, feeding to individual, different, diverse students' learning needs. Additionally, there was a different study which uncovered a different aspect of diversity in university. What is
Sir,
yes?
So, explain to me why, when a student transfers to a different university, most of the time, or a lot of the time, significant number of students end up being exclusive with the people who look like them, who act like them. For example, if I go there, I only mingle with my Indian friends. And why is this a common problem in Western countries?
You bring up a great point. I grew up in a Western country, I didn't have that. Actually, the university there is truly diverse. The fact is that that's a choice that an individual makes. That has no bearing on the university. Right? That's an individual choice. Now, bringing up to a second point, another study on diversity was on universities, and what they looked at was mission statements among 28 leading universities in the world, and what did they find? That 28 universities could not agree on what they wanted their students to learn and master. Diversity in intellectual thought among universities. In a university. I found this from Google Scholar Publishing. I hope you're proud. Finally, there was a significant study where Roxanne Gudelman did a study on as well, and what she did was she asked faculty at universities, do you feel that you're diverse? And guess what the faculty said? Males said something, and females said something completely different. Culturally inclined faculty said something. Culturally uninclined faculty said something different. The point isn't what they said, the point is that they had diversity in the university, in a university setting. And that answers the question, can universities be diverse? Absolutely they can, because that's where you nurture individual and diverse thoughts. Where else can we celebrate it? In closing, I would leave you with a fascinating quote that has been demonstrated since the dawn of time. Well, actually the 17th century. John Locke wrote about education and stated that education benefits the traveler and that a learner encounters difference and opportunities to engage in an exchange, in dialogue with others in their education process. And where does that happen? That happens in universities. The key here is, can you have dialogue that is different with other people? In a university, I say, yes you can. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why when I ask myself, and I ask you, can universities be truly diverse? Yes. Yes, they can.
We have heard a lot about diversity from both sides of the table today, and especially side government, our respected lecturers, talk about how diversity can occur with intellectual differences, with PBL assessments, and so forth. And those are the things, those are the idealistic pictures painted by side government that tells you that diversity works by throwing a bunch of different people of different skin tones together, and then voila, you have diversity. Well, which is what we truly disagree on the basis that it is not how diversity works. Diversity is a recognition of this debate can only occur if we truly discuss how diversity affects lives, affects cultures, and because this culture and beliefs intervenes with the lives of students. And diversity is recognition of each individual being unique in their respective culture and beliefs, is to explore beyond the mere front of tolerance, beyond the mere front of putting students of different skin tones in a hall and saying, oh, I've come to a very diverse place. place. No, diversity is being okay with the differences of others, even though their beliefs and culture clashes with yours. So I'll move on to the clashes of today's debate. I'll first respond to how the last speaker of side government said how it is the individual choice to segregate amongst themselves. Well, I think that we need to explore on why they segregate themselves instead of saying, well, it's their problem, which refers me to point one, diversity of culture. Arjun told you how the majority, in every setting, in even education setting, workplace setting, there will be a majority of people that overpowers the minority. In China, you have more Chinese students compared to Malay or Indian students.
One point of interest.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not talking about morality. We are talking about the question of, can a university be diverse? Is the university a diverse place?
All right. Responding exactly to that, we are telling you diversity is also about involving everyone and accepting everyone. Diversity cannot occur when you say we have a few people living in the same place or studying in the same place together and they have to just coexist in tension. We are not talking about that type of diversity. If you talk about that type, there's nothing to debate about today. Okay, moving on. I just talked about the acknowledgement that doesn't exist when you have each other holding on strongly to their own beliefs without accepting each other. They only coexist, but they do not accept each other. Which was responded by side government talking about how they have protectionist policy, anti-discrimination policy to help them different causes for different needs, formation of club and society. Well, our response is, it doesn't change the fact that the crowd will still view you as an oddity. It doesn't change the fact that one culture will always be the majority and another the minority. There will always be a pressure to fall into the perception of what is normal. There will always be a discrimination, and it diminishes the freedom of a minority to express themselves. Therefore, diversity does not occur there. That is just a few people coexisting and living in a situation where they have to bow down to what is popular. Moving on, number two, he talked about diversity of individuals and how UNC serves as a platform for independent growth. Therefore, because they are rebuilding themselves, they will eventually deviate from their cultural upbringing, and therefore forming a circular situation where UNC culture itself molds you into a different person. And it was responded by side government where they tell you there is still diversity in intelligence and personality. Well, our question is, how will that contribute to real diversity that we talk about? When real diversity, where you can accept the differences of yourself and others, even if it works on their side, there will always be a perpetuation by the majority to what is favorable, what personality is favorable, there will always be an existing issue of who is being better liked and others being merely tolerated. Moving on, Shri told you about the diversity of beliefs and clash of beliefs, where cultural sensitivity will always be sidestepped and therefore minorities always have to hide and adapt to another culture, conforming to another culture to cover up themselves so that they will be perceived as normal. And therefore the misconception of a certain beliefs that are belonging to the minority will either one, disappear, or two, be appropriated. And this microaggression of majority happens here when the majority can dictate that what is racist and what is not. The example of him not being seen in the dark and so forth. The selective ignorance happen here when people choose not to discuss about what is sensitive, because universities, whether we like it or not, universities have to be politically correct. So because they are striving for this political correctness, therefore they will sidestep and avoid sensitive issues and so forth. And it was responded by government, and they tell you how the UNCs nurture diversity because you see a hall full of different races and you exchange diverse ideas. We tell you your discussion can occur only when you're politically correct. You can never discuss issues that are sensitive. You can only discuss issues that are intellectual and things like that, but those kind of issue does not contribute to what diversity needs, to when diversity is needed. Thank you.
I was getting breathless listening to that. Okay, so both sides of the house have spoken now. Before you cast your final vote, if anybody would want to make any push for the motion or against the motion, please come to the microphone and give your 30 seconds.
I truly go with the motions because the motions say, which the facilitator has explained, can university be truly diverse? Yes, if your assessment tool, your educational method, your educational strategy, your infrastructure. I have one question to a student. Any one of you graduated just because he's Indian background or Chinese or Mali? No, you graduate based on your performance, and that is the diversity.
Professor Maru.
I wanted to make just a simple statement. I was disappointed because a society is judged not by how it treats those who are privileged, but by how it treats the most underprivileged members of that society. There is no reason whatsoever why students who have physical disabilities shouldn't be going through universities. Some universities permit this, and others do not. And I was a bit disappointed because that issue of physical disability was not raised on either side in this debate.
Yes?
Having spent many years in item review committees, I know that statements with can are very difficult to disprove, and I want to congratulate the opposition on providing us with many arguments, many barriers that just have to be removed in order for the statement to be true. Because all the three arguments were basically, if this were removed and this were done, screw universities can be truly diverse.
Anybody else wants to make any more points? If not, then is there something standing up? Or no? Okay. So can I will allow the opposition 30 seconds to respond to the comments, and then the government 30 seconds. Yeah.
So ultimately, what we want to respond to the comments about is the idea of diversity isn't if you graduate or not. Because regardless if you're disenfranchised, you will still graduate through your high school, you will still be a doctor, etc., etc. But will the opportunities be equal to you? Will the treatment be equal to you? If I go to a certain race-dominated place, and if I don't act like them or speak like them, I will be looked upon as inferior. I will not be treated the same, etc., etc. And that's why we say it's unfair, and that's why we say diversity can't be achieved as of now.
Okay, 30 seconds isn't a lot. So to address Prof's point, thank you very much. It's a point well taken. We did speak a little bit to that with anti-discrimination when we mentioned that we just didn't have an opportunity to elaborate. However, absolutely, the question is, can universities be diverse? And the platform here at university exists for them to be diverse. So I go back to, can we be diverse? Not a moral question, not a race question, not a religious question. Can we be diverse? Yes, we can.
Who wants to ask a question?
Students want to ask a question.
Oh, Julie, I didn't see you, sorry.
Hi, I think when you talk about diversity, it's just not about what happens in the university. The questions that you can ask, or you need to ask, is that if you have an administration position, is equal rights given to someone who is a homosexual as compared to a straight person? There's cultural differences, there's religious differences affect this. Yes, it does. Which is one, as beautiful and as nice diversity sounds and looks like, it's something that we will never achieve, we will never be able to embrace it. Because in this part of the world, probably homosexuality is an issue. But it is
sorry, we're running out of time. So can I now ask you to cast a vote, please, after having had all the arguments? Okay, you need to make up your mind very quickly because we're going into the next session. So, okay, I'm going to count from 10 to 1 and then we'll close, yeah? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really? Can we close it now, please? Oh! Oh my God! Okay. As soon as someone asks. Oh my God, that's close now. That is so close. But I think the faculty has an unfair advantage because there are more of you here. Whereas there are not so many students here. So anyway, thank you so much for your contribution. So can we thank the opposition? And also can we thank my timekeeper, please? Thank you very much.